What is up, everybody? Matt here, back again with another video for you. Today I'm going to be doing my thoughts on John Carpenter's The Thing, one of my favorite movies of all time, which is celebrating its birthday today, so happy birthday, John Carpenter's The Thing. Now, there have been a ton of videos about The Thing and how it was, panned upon its release, and with time, it's become an absolute classic, and, rightfully so. It's an incredible film with great practical effects, and it's really a hallmark of John Carpenter's work. I would say, it's his best work, and I would argue probably one of the greatest films ever made. The best films really do envelop you in the story, in the circumstances, in what's happening in the film, and you forget that what you're watching is fiction, is just fantasy, it's make-believe. When you watch The Thing, even though it's barely under 2 hours, you feel as though you've gone through this whole ordeal with these people and everything that's been happening throughout the course of the film, and you're just drained by the end of it. And I think that's what makes it such a great film, is that there are moments where you get so lost in it. And no matter how many times I've seen it, there are still scares that get me, there are still moments that get me, because they're played as so real and so genuine. And like I said, there are a ton of videos out there that you can check out about, how the film was made and so on and so forth, and how over the years it's been vindicated as a classic. But what I wanted to do with this video was share my thoughts on it, so my experiences, my thoughts on the film. And for me, my first experience with the film was going back to a Christmas, I would say, 96, 95. And I remember either my mom or my dad got a VHS copy of the film. And I remember them showing it to me and going, "You see this movie?" And I go, "Yeah." And they go, "This is one of the scariest movies ever made." And they weren't joking. It's still pretty terrifying and pretty scary on multiple levels. I would later watch that VHS tape for the first time in a basement on a really horrible TV that kept, the tracking kept, screwing up and stuff. And I remember it was snowing outside. So it was just perfect. It was cold, it was snowing, it had that element of just the walls creeping in, and I was just blown away. The film is just completely pulled me in with how it was structured and staged. I was just a kid when I watched this, and I understood, oh, I see what they're doing there, oh, that's really cool. And the second things started popping off and people started blowing open and tentacles and things, I was hooked. I loved it, and I was scared. I was laughing. I thought it was so incredible and so great. And since then, The Thing has become probably the most quoted movie when I'm around my parents, outside of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. We always, tell each other, lines from the movie and things like that. And I think what makes the piece work so well is it's a character piece. Obviously the effects are incredible, and Rob Bottin did an amazing job constructing these puppets and masks and prosthetics and all these things. But it's a character piece. It's about the guys. And, Kurt Russell, my God, does an incredible job as MacReady. And you're rooting for him the whole time. And you feel like you're him, and you feel like you're there, and everything about it is so cool. Every time I watch it, I notice something new. I notice a shot, a music cue, or something like that. And I think this is probably my favorite John Carpenter score. Whenever I reference his music, I think this is one that always comes up as the prime example. A couple months ago, I was playing the board game Pandemic with my students, which is about how in the game you're playing as disease control people. Don't worry, I'm getting to the point. You play as disease control people, and you're trying to stop the spread of a disease. So naturally, when we played it, I put on the main theme of The Thing because it has that feel. And much like MacReady, we were trying to stop the spread of something horrible, destroying mankind. And it was a lot of fun. It was really cool that did that. That theme, that music is so gripping and so terrifying. I have a little bit of a tradition. Being an educator in Missouri, every winter, well, we'll get a couple snow days, and generally my tradition is on the first snow day, I watch Fargo. But if I get a second snow day in a row, I watch The Thing, because that's when things start getting weird. And then if I make it to the third day, I watch The Shining. But I'm going to talk about The Shining in another video, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, no, The Thing has been a movie I've owned across multiple formats. I love what fans have done with the incredible fan art for the film. Mondo has done some posters for it. There's a board game now that I have to get. I have to play it. Even if I never play it, if I play it just once, I still want that box. I still want it. But it's such an incredible film. And just to load just more onto it, it's just a wonderful, funny, horrific action, adventure, isolation, and it's done so much for film. So many filmmakers have been inspired by it to create their own stories of isolation and fear and things like that. As far as the other films go, the original and the prequel, I'm kind of indifferent. I know there's an original cut of the prequel that is actually much better than the theatrical cut. So I'm interested to see if that comes out. And as far as the original goes from the Howard Hawks version, I like a couple scenes, but I mean, Carpenter just hit it on the head with his version. I think it's, again, like I've said, it's the best of the three, and in my opinion, one of the greatest films ever made, because again, to me, the mark of a good film is when you lose yourself in it, when you completely are enveloped in the story and you believe that what you're seeing is reality. My favorite scene, it's probably a tie. I love, it's a three-way tie. I love the opening. I love the dog scene. I think that's so great. There's a great line in there where they're like, I don't know what's in there, man, but it's weird and pissed off. And I'm just like, that's that movie right there. It's like, you're so scared, but they give you that joke to kind of like, don't go in there, and they got the flamethrower, and it's just, it's so cool. I love the scene where they're tied to the couch and they do the test. I mean, it's so perfectly timed. And they do something so cool with the switching out of the thing, and it comes out of the thing, and you're like, it's so great. That moment, it doesn't matter how many times I watch it, it always gets me, and I know it's coming. It's like the top of a roller coaster. You know it's there, you're terrified, but you can't wait for the drop. And then I love the defibrillator scene. Where they go to do the defibrillator and the guy's arms get cut off and then the head comes off and it's crawling around. And they look at it and you go, you gotta be kidding me. Like that's when they realize, oh my goodness, each part of this thing is alive. God, it's such a great film. And like I said, my family has really integrated it into, our lives, much like the creature itself has become part of us. My dad sometimes would hang out in the garage and just kind of, tinker around and do stuff, and we'd always joke he was like Wilford Brimley. He's building a spaceship out in the garage. But yeah, it's an incredible film. And I know that probably most of you folks out there have seen it and have enjoyed it. But if you haven't, even though I've talked about some elements that are in the film that I guess would technically count as spoilers, my words don't compare to actually seeing it. And it's so incredibly cool and brutal and intense and funny and gooey, and it's just a wonderful monster film. And it was really summed up well by John Carpenter himself. He said there are two kinds of horror stories. There's the horror story where we're sitting around a campfire and the evil is out there in the darkness waiting for us. And then there's the horror story of the evil is one of us sitting around the fire. And that's what The Thing is. It's about the inner evil within man and how that can spread destroy, and cause an end to the world, in a sense. And I think that that is a really cool way of telling a story like that, about human corruption and evil and things like that. I think that that was a really cool way to do it. But yeah, from frame to frame, easily one of the greatest films ever made, and definitely one of the favorites in my collection. But those are my thoughts on The Thing. Happy birthday, Thing! Many, many more to this incredible film. Again, watch it again, see it in theaters, whatever you have to do to celebrate today. You know, and we're all very tired. We're just going to have to sit around and see what happens.